Hello and welcome back to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Before we get rolling tonight, just want to make you aware, in case you are not aware, I finally have a brand new video coming out on Tuesday. I know it's been nothing but live streams for the past few months, but I finally got around to filming and editing some new content for you guys. So it's going to be the third installment of my series, How Did I Miss This? And in this episode, I will be watching Zero Ranger for the first time and giving my thoughts on it. Yeah, it's a good time. It's gonna be premiering this Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be hanging out in the chat to answer questions and watch along with you guys. So please, if you can, set a reminder and check it out. All right. So for my show tonight, I'm joined by someone that I've actually met in person several times. In fact, he and I are both non-traditional students at the same college studying video production. He also runs a YouTube channel where he talks about all things cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, HipsterPunchy.
Hey, how's it going?
How is it going, my friend?
It's going good. Can't complain. It's been a good weekend. Juggling school and watching as many movies as possible. Sometimes at all hours of night, like last night.
All right, so let's see who we have in the chat. We got Toku Punk Productions. How's it going? And he's correcting my pronunciation on Zero Ranger. My apologies, just G Ranger. I completely screw it up in the video, so you get to look forward to that. And Shin Gojira. Do you think Kim could have played Colonel Diane Foster? Who's that? Who's Colonel Diane Foster? Is that a series? I don't know. Anyway. Hi, HipsterPunchy. How's it going?
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's going good. So, as she said, I'm also a video production student at the same school as her. I've actually known you for a couple of years now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So like she said, non-traditional student, meaning we're later in the game with that.
Yeah, we're old. We're old people. We're old people.
Yes, yes.
We're older than all the undergrads.
it really shows sometimes. It shows when we're like in the previous school we were in, when we were the only two who were really focused on it. No, we had a couple others in the second class we were in, but it kind of showed a lot of the time. So I've been a fan of film for as long as I can remember. I didn't try to my first go around in college because I didn't think I had it in me. But then I said, why would I think that later in life? I decided to go back to school for TV and film production. I started out as a big horror and sci-fi fan, developed into a cinephile at this point. I have way too many movies that are some of which you can see here. I'm one of those who still get physical media, whether it be Criterion, Arrow, Shout Factory, all the I know indicators coming in January, so that's going to frustrate my wife further. Which is the weird thing about going to school at this age, is being married while going to college. Like that's usually only more
I'm engaged while going to college, so yay.
Yes,
that.
you know the process. You know the process. Pandemic wedding planning is always fun. Always
Good
very
time.
fun. It's, actually, like most of my collection's Criterion. Oddly enough, in a relation to the subject matter of this channel, the movie that got me into collecting them is the release of Godzilla, because there were two favorites of mine that I wanted a quality release of. Both movies actually wound up getting that through Criterion. Godzilla, which up until the Criterion release had a ton of iffy releases.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were so many weird releases that would come out of it, and Toho's notorious for not giving the best transfer. So I think it was like the first release of a Godzilla movie with an actual restored transfer. Because I know Toho is very notorious. That the other movie was Night of the Living Dead, which is public domain, so everybody has a release of it at this point. To varying so, but yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of film. Like I said, horror, sci-fi. I as far as like the Godzilla films, my earliest memories were watching like the TBS marathons back in the day, when those were still a thing, and watching like for as long as I socially possible watching them, which for me is a while.
All right, so you kind of already answered the first question of the 3 questions that I like to ask all of my guests to kick off the conversation. What got you into Godzilla? Favorite Godzilla movie, and your favorite non-Godzilla kaiju movie.
Okay, no, I listen. I can do that again. I can add to that. So don't worry. Like,
Okay. Yes.
But like also like my family were very into like monster movies, like some of my uncles and stuff. So that kind of got the start, and then I kind of self fostered the love of the movies. Favorite Godzilla movie? I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one that there's the one that I think is the best movie, which is the Japanese cut of the original, which I know is probably a very generic answer.
Yeah, but it's a good answer.
It's a good answer. Like I didn't see the Japanese cut until I was in adulthood. So
Same
it kind
here.
of it kind of blew my mind a little bit when that finally got like a home media release in the US. I should say a good one, but but also Invasion of the Astro Monster is another favorite of mine. But that's from a nostalgic standpoint because during those marathons that I mentioned, that was the movie that was most often played.
Mm-hmm. And the
And
third question was favorite non-Godzilla kaiju movie.
oh god, this is going to be a polarizing answer, because this is more of one that I consider kaiju, and this is like and probably not the best answer, but it's the reasons legit. Um, I am actually a fan of Pacific Rim.
Okay.
But I'm also a big Guillermo del
I
Toro.
consider that a kaiju movie. There's
Yeah,
kaiju in it.
I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that one like always brings back memes. I know there's like a lot. Like I know there's a lot of Gamera movies that could be, which I still need to stop slacking on the sets for Gamera. But that one, like I said, I'm a fan of Guillermo del Toro, so that one, and that's one that I actually saw in the theaters. Well, that and the original Godzilla, but that's a non-Godzilla one that I actually saw in the theater. So there's memories attached to going to see that.
Awesome. All right. Hello, bonus commentary. Thanks for stopping by. Physical media is best media. Amen.
Yes, because you honestly know, like, yes, I know streaming is now the dominant form of media, but you're not going to get the highest video quality yet because our internet speeds in the US are trash compared to the rest of the world. So it's not possible to get like 4K or actual 1080p on streaming, which is why I have a bountiful Blu-ray and soon 4K collection going.
Yeah, I'll let you show that off a little bit later, or at least a small portion of it, because we can't be all here all night. You know what I mean?
Hey, I was going to say, do we have that much time? Like,
no, I'll give you 10 minutes now.
So maybe about a tenth of. I'd have to like go off camera to get the Godzilla set Criterion set, but um, yeah,
I'll take your
like I
word
have,
for it that you have it. Yeah.
yeah, I know you have it because I
Yeah,
see it in
that's
the
it's
background.
right, it's right there.
I should have brought that down, but it's actually too tall for these shelves, which is why it's on top of the bookshelf. So
Yeah.
like it's such a big like it's such a weirdly dimensioned package, but it's also fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I love it. Hi, Laura. Just wanted to say hi to my girl Laura real quick, member of Team Savage. What's up? All right. So let's talk about filmmaking. You like
Yes,
filmmaking.
I do.
You like film. You like filmmaking. So who or what inspired you to start making films or, make a YouTube channel about films?
So as far as like what inspired me to start making film, I the most influential directors to me, one of which like in different genres and stuff, like one of which is George A. Romero, which I'm wearing a George A. Romero shirt to this. Um, his Dead trilogy, Martin, um, the Creep Show, and other movies that he's directed have were like heavy influence wise on me early in the days. Um, I mentioned Guillermo del Toro earlier, like his films um, were an early influence. And newer influence is someone like a Bong Joon Ho. Um, that's a later influence, but that's also kind of kept me going as far as influences go. Um, I would like to probably start in horror because a lot of horror also gravitates towards me influence wise. Um, but I also want to be well rounded too. So that my influences also include someone like a Andrei Tarkovsky or a David Lynch. So I am kind of all over the map with influences.
Awesome. So what are some of your favorite films?
Who? So I've already mentioned a couple of them, like Night of the Living Dead,
Mhm.
Gojira. Um, I'm a huge fan. There's a sci-fi movie Solaris that I'm a fan of. Brazil is another favorite of mine. That was by Terry Gilliam. Um, oh God, that's so tough. I have so many favorites. like it, but those are ones that I can definitely mention. Actually, Night of the Living Dead, which alternates with the second one in that first three of Romero's zombie movie wise, which would be Dawn of the Dead, is also another one. I'm also a fan of the movie Repo Man.
Mhm.
So I could keep going.
Yeah, I'll let you go for like an hour, but that's it. All right. All right. So, you produced a film or two in the past couple of years, have you not?
Yes, I have. I actually Anthropophobia, which was a short film.
Oh, why don't you tell us about that?
So that was a class project. That was one of the classes we actually didn't take together. Um, but that was for a. It was called Directing for TV, but they were in the process of changing the name, and we we had like a multi-location shoot, but it was like a one actor shoot. It taught me a lot about both directing and editing because I actually directed and edited the movie, which I know our professor in that school would have said was a big no no. And putting together that movie made me realize why that's a big no no. Because my initial like cut of it was way too long because I didn't like I had directed like a fair amount of these and like a lot of the shots were good because I had a really good director of photography and those like I didn't want to leave anything on the floor, so to speak. And now there's no cutting room floor now due to everything being digital. But I I didn't want to cut anything, and then I was like, all right, no, this isn't working with the way it's cut now. Let me fix that. And I didn't write it though. the idea that I wrote for the class wasn't voted on in my group because honestly it was too high concept for the type of class it was. Like I went big with the idea, but then I realized, like, listen, this is not going to work for this class.
A little
It's
too
something I
ambitious.
feel very, very, very ambitious for a community college like production class. So that one I shelved, and it's kind of on my list of ideas that I want to kind of work out and work on and flesh out um, for the time being to maybe make it like a future project.
Awesome.
But I remember, like, I spent like a 24-hour period editing this short
Wow.
because we like none of the audio work because we had one of those like windsock things, like they call it the cattail, and that blocked none of the wind.
Yikes.
It did nothing. So we could not use any of the audio from any of the outside audio. So like a lot of the editing had to be me finding sounds that sounded like the outside sound effects and putting them in there. And then there were scenes that I had to cut because it was supposed to be the person playing the main character being the only person left on Earth. Meanwhile, we filmed at this mall in our area that is largely closed on Sunday. It was a Sunday, so we used blue laws to our advantage for the shoot. But there were still some situations where there was like someone walking in the back, and I'm like, well, there goes that shot.
Yeah.
So that was a tough one too. We didn't like we had no permits and we were shooting on a mall, so we couldn't exactly say, "Hey, can you guys like set off a blockade or something? We're filming something for a community college." Like, we couldn't do that, so we had to do everything we had to do it fast and loose.
Yeah, that independent filmmaking definitely comes with a lot of challenges. I actually made a film last year for the same class, but it was under a different name. Digital filmmaking, it was called. I think I shared it with you.
Was that the one? Yes, you did, and I did. Well, I remember watching that. I was about to ask if it was the one that was kind of it was the COVID backwards.
Yes.
Or no, Corona backwards.
Yes, Anarok is Corona backwards.
Yes.
Yeah. So limited time, limited crew, microscopic budget.
Yes.
Gotta love it.
Yes.
But it was still a lot of fun. I had so much fun directing that film and editing it and doing the green screen and stuff like that. And I want to make another film. Like being on set just like lit a fire in my soul. Did you feel that way when you were on set for your film?
And that, and also the last class we took in that college that we were both in, the TV production class, like that was also like igniting stuff. And then coronavirus hit, and we were remote, and that kind of like
that sucked so hard. Like we were assigned to like do our own TV series, an episode of a TV thing or whatever. And I was up next, and I was going to do a kaiju game show. And then as soon as my week came up, that's when they were like, "Nope, we're closed because Corona."
I remember that because I was going to host that.
Yes, you were.
Yes, I was. I was going to be the host for that one.
Yeah.
I had the shirt picked out and everything. I got to do mine.
I know you got to do yours. I was your assistant director, wasn't I?
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. I think he wanted to front load the class with like the people who we probably felt were competent enough to that, because we had people in that class who were not taking it as serious. Some were not taking it as seriously as others.
Don't remind me. But yeah.
Some taking it too seriously.
Again, I say, don't remind me. Oh my god, we'll talk more about that after the stream. But yeah. So you talked about some challenges on your project. What was some of your favorite parts about it?
Actually, filming it. like getting out there and filming it. Like that was my first time doing it, and I quite enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And I it sucks I didn't get to like foster that many of my ideas since the coronavirus started, because mental health is a
Yeah, mental health is a thing.
yes.
You don't gotta tell me. I've canceled
Yes.
many a stream because of my mental health.
I put off filming my video because of
Yep, same,
like
same.
and like I would like watch a movie. Like I'm gonna watch this and do a video on it, and then like then that would hit and be like,
I don't want to exist. I don't feel like doing anything. What's the point?
yeah, exactly. Um, but so now I'm like, all right, I need to like start doing this because I could probably do a pretty good job doing the videos. Like sometimes like the bad thing about mental health stuff is sometimes you doubt that you can do that stuff. And meanwhile, I've had videos that have for a new channel done decently enough, where
Hmm.
had I just been consistent, I could have probably grown the channel a bit more. Um, which is my intention at this point. But um, but no, that's one of the biggest challenges as far on the creative end, because that can be like stifling to being creative or doing anything productive.
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah,
definitely the biggest,
that's
and
definitely
money.
definitely a thing. Yeah, and money, of course. Yeah,
Yes.
I,
The two M's.
I had actually mental health and money, the two M's. I had actually gotten some people together to do a short film. Like I was part of this. What was it called? New York Film Collective, I think it was something along those lines. So I had gotten a bunch of people together to
Oh,
work on a short film that I had in mind that was related to mental health, funnily enough, but I couldn't get the funding for it, and so I just kind of
uh,
put it back on the shelf. So I hope I get to do it someday. But
I there's ideas that I have that I guess that are very high concept and I would need budgets for. Um, I'm still debating because my final project in oh sorry, my foot just hit the
how
table
dare
here.
you?
So the shaky cam was not by design. Um, so um, so I'm like debating what to do for my final project when I get to that point, when I get to that semester in college. Um, because I'm going for the make a movie, like make a feature length movie aspect of it, as opposed to the write a thesis paper. Because if I'm going to school for video production, why do a paper when I could have my project be a movie?
Exactly.
Like be me actually applying what I learn in the school, as opposed to um, writing a thesis about why, I don't know, the hidden commentaries behind the Friday the 13th franchise.
I mean, I was thinking about doing a thesis too, but then you make a good point. Like, why would I write a paper when I can make a film? You know?
Yeah, like we've had so many. We're going to end up having so many papers to write. Why add a much longer and much more complicated one to the
Yeah.
whole mix? Like, why do that? Just create something.
Yeah, no, screw papers. I'm done with papers. Like, I'm so sick of papers.
Yes, yes, so sick of them,
Ugh,
and also sick of message board posts
oh my
for
God.
school.
Oh, I hate taking online classes. I hope I never have to take an online class after this semester.
Online classes for me are good in the way that I can take them while working because I have a full-time job too.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, because then you gotta make your own post, and then you gotta respond to two other students. Otherwise, they'll dock your grade. And then I don't want to talk to people. I just want to pass. Leave me alone.
I want to pass. I have a class where it's like so easy that I can basically just show up and get an A. And I'm not talking about the video making class. There's another one that I have that's like just basically exist and you're gonna be fine.
What class is that?
I can't say because on the off chance that someone who's at school listens and word gets around, because I can't say.
Mm. All right.
Because I don't
Well,
want to
you
blow.
can tell me. You can tell me after we go off the air.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to. I don't want to risk blowing up the teacher professor's spot because it is an easy class. I want to keep it as an easy A.
Yeah. Well, real quick, just want to say hello to Godzilla Nerds 1954, my guest from last week. I had no idea you were into filming. Wow, I want to learn how to create animation filming. Hello, by the way. Hello. Thank you for popping in. Alrighty. So yeah, filmmaking is tough, especially
Hard.
when depression and
Yes.
money hit.
Yeah. Mostly money. Mostly.
Mostly money, yeah.
I'm fortunate in that I have a friend who constantly upgrades his technology, and he is frequently lending me stuff to use. Like my new camera that I've been using for my last couple of videos. That was a hand me down from that friend because he gave me like couple thousand like $900 Sony 4K camcorder because he ended up getting a $9,000 DSLR. So next time he upgrades, it'll change from that to a $9,000 DSLR
Oh wow.
to film. Yeah, no, he did professional audio and also does recording video stuff for like weddings and stuff. So his technology is not bad at all. So those hand me downs are keeping the channel running basically. So that's a good thing. That's kind of helped.
When you get equipment from him, and then when you're done with your hand me downs, you can hand those down to me. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, because I want new toys to play with.
Yes, my previous, I mean, the last hand me down from him, my MacBook before my current MacBook was also a hand me down. So, just my technology has not suffered since my friend started spending money on equipment. So that's a good thing. So that takes away some overhead, but there's still other expenses when it comes to filmmaking to look forward to, look forward to, as if doing those numbers are a fun thing.
Yeah, like when I was trying to do that mental health film, like I was working with people who knew more than me, and then they were like, okay, you have to make a budget. I'm like, oh, okay, and then I got like a template for a budget. I'm like, oh no, I didn't think about any of this stuff.
Especially if you're like,
you got to think about like where you're going to film, how you're going to get there, how you're going to get your crew there, how you're going to get your cast there, who you're going to cast, and all that. There's just so much the stuff that goes into it that you don't think about,
and then compensating who you're going to think. Yeah, what? And then compensating who you're going to cast.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing.
Because like it's hard to find like good acting that doesn't want to get paid.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I used to do stand-up comedy, and the amount of predatory people who are like, I'll pay you in exposure. And it's like, exposure doesn't pay rent.
Yeah. I mean, you can pay me in food. I mean, I can just...
Yeah.
That works. I mean, then at least I'll get a meal at the end of it, but exposure's not a thing. Bonus commentary. Pay on an indie film? Say what?
Fair. Well, okay, so I mean, if I'm making like a non-student film, because my first one's going to be my student film, because my first feature-length one, but aside from that, which is probably going to be like student actors and stuff playing the roles mainly, like once I get past that part and if I make another one after that, if I get to do that, I'm gonna obviously want to make sure they're compensated. Like it just wouldn't feel right. I know I could probably go the route of like a trauma and go ultra low budget and but still, people are putting work in. Got to make sure they're paid.
Yeah, gotta make sure they're paid and maybe use GoFundMe. I've tried to use GoFundMe, didn't lead me anywhere. Or what's the name of the other one? Indiegogo. There we go.
Indigo, you need to you need to have so much production done for those to actually work. Like you
Yeah.
need to basically make a short film version of the movie you're trying to make before you're ready to do an Indiegogo. That way, people don't think you're just gonna scam them out of. And that's a lesson I learned. I tried to do one for a documentary about wrestling fans, and me posting the GoFundMe got instantly shit on because other people had come out of the blue and tried to do that, and were actually scamming. So you've got to have something tangible before doing that too.
Yep. I also learned that the hard way.
Yes, yes,
Because without anything to look at, people are just going to see like, hi, strangers on the internet, please give me money.
yes, exactly. And it's just like you got to have some, whether it's a short film version of it or something, which is how a movie like Lights Out happened. That was initially a short, and then that one was spread around and went viral and became a feature length movie.
Yeah, like if you don't like have like a something filmed, maybe at least have like a pitch deck or something to show.
Yes,
People want to see
something.
things.
Which again is a hard lesson to learn, but it's a lesson you learn. Like uh, you can read a lot of film theory books and a lot of, but they're not going to really tell you about the coming, both the inner workings of the business and also how people are going to handle crowdfunding requests. like, like if their money's going into something, they want to make sure that it's going into something.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So, any other upcoming projects? You get, like what film ideas do you have? Why don't you share some of them with us if you're up for that?
um, I don't have many that are like close enough to become like a project. I mean, I know I want to do. Um, it's a lot of genre stuff, like a lot of like a slasher movie that I want to do where there's kind of like a and it's been, I know it's been done once or twice before, but the movies weren't great. Like one where the twist is that the person being set up as the final girl is actually the killer,
Hmm.
or like one that's kind of like a horror comedy from the point of view of the slasher, um, including them going to like support groups, like addiction support groups, like under the guise of being addicted to something else.
Oh wow.
And then a zombie movie about class, like that's kind of also a commentary in class struggle.
Hmm.
That one I think is going to take the most time because that one's going to have to be very nuanced, and whereas the other two I could probably work on sooner than that.
Cool.
So those are, and then there was one about a film just kind of about someone who's bipolar and what they go through, what you go through with having bipolar. So that's another idea that I had.
Hmm. What are some of your least favorite films?
Ooh, it's funny. I've had this conversation this weekend because um, my least favorite movies, like the movies that gave me like the most visceral, like this movie is the worst reaction. Um, the first thing that comes to mind would be the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
Hmm.
Those were awful. Those shook me to my core. Um, the Roland Emmerich Godzilla is really bad.
Mm.
Like I can't stand that movie. It's like not even in a so bad it's good kind of way. Like I have a high tolerance for bad cinema. I like horror movies. That there's it's a very more bad than good genre. Like as far as like filmmaking is concerned. So I have a high tolerance, but those ones were especially bad.
Mhm. Oh
And
man.
this the Snyder cut.
The Snyder cut.
Wasn't a fan.
Hmm.
It's okay. I should say the Justice League, the non-Snyder cut, was worse. So that one deserves mention, but the Snyder cut was bad too. Like I think I think it's just bad based on the hype that cut got. Um, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, what was the hype like surrounding that film? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I guess I don't really like. I don't get cinema, I guess, but whatever. But like, are you a Zack Snyder fan? Would you be able to explain the hype to me?
So I don't know if I would call myself a fan of Zack Snyder. Like there's a very um, there's a couple issues I have. Like he's very Ayn Randian in his storytelling, and he's told worse versions of like established stories in the past. He's a great visual filmmaker, but I think he tries to be more than he actually is. He's an actiony director, and I think sometimes he tries to go out of his depths a few times. And the Snyder cut of Justice League to me was very long and self-indulgent.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some Zack Snyder movies I appreciate. Like in a way, even though I recently saw it, and I'm like, this movie's not what I thought it was. Like his Dawn of the Dead remake. But like the good in that movie, I kind of give credit to James Gunn on the script because he wrote most like a chunk of the script. Um, but I'm not really his movies are very superficial to me, and I think he tried to make his Justice League not superficial, but it's still a mess. Like I think it was doomed from the get go. I think Josh Whedon ruined it when he did his reshoots and his cut, but I just because the Snyder cut's better than the Whedon cut doesn't mean that it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I have that problem with Snyder films a lot is that they have the same themes and same kind of everything to it. And I'm sorry, Batman versus Superman was terrible as well.
Yeah.
like we get it. They're both of their moms are named Martha. So I wasn't a fan of those. I did like Army of the Dead though. I, I I thought that was like, and I think I would have liked the Dawn of the Dead remake better if it were named something anything other than Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I
Because
think a lot
that
of
movie,
yeah, a lot of people feel the same way about the Roland Emmerich Godzilla, where like if it was named any other any other name, whatever, it was just not named Godzilla, then I would like it a little better.
yeah. If it were called Egg Laying Dinosaur Attacks New York, it would have been much better. Hank Azaria was like the bright spot of that movie,
Yeah. What
and
this ain't Patreon. I'm aware that this ain't Patreon. Thank you. I don't know what that comment is referring to, but okay. Yeah. So I got a
probably us
hypothetical
talking
question for
about
you.
money with. Okay,
You're hired to direct a new kaiju film. You have the rights to all of Toho's intellectual property. What's your film like?
oh man, it's going to be I mean, it's something as far as the amount of kaiju fights that would happen would put Final War to shame in that respect. Um, so I would want to do something like that to showcase all the monsters, even some of the lesser known ones. Um, but I would actually put work into the actual development of the human characters because I think sometimes that can be the flaw of a lot of the Godzilla movies are some of the scenes with the human characters. Like I know, and that even affects that, and that's not just Toho, but even like the American versions of Godzilla. Um, that's kind of been impacted the rest of the movie was how good or bad the human characters were. So I would balance it well so there's not too much of one aspect, either the monster fights or the human. human parts of it. Um, but I would definitely it would take place over multiple countries, like Final War. But it wouldn't be as sci-fi. It would be more developed on the human aspect as well to kind of give that balance to it. And I know that, and that's a very tough thing to do, um, to keep that balance. But I would focus. What's a good example? Um, a good example would be actually the Romero movies or the early seasons of The Walking Dead, where the character drama was strong too. Um, so I would do that.
All right, cool.
That's just basically being on the spot and not having too much thought into it.
Very good. So, all right, I'll let you take a few minutes here to show off some of your maybe a small portion of your collection that you got going on back there.
Yes. So I got the Bruce Lee set from Criterion. Sorry, there's a lot here, so I'm going to see what I can grab. I also collect arrows, so this is the ring collection. It says ring you because that's just it's not a word, but that's kind of what it was marketed as in the US. There goes that. What else do I have here? An arrow of Hellraiser. Let me see what I can grab here. One of my favorite things that I got, which is actually a Shout Factory release, and this is because I actually am, like, I actually grew up in Northwest Jersey, so I grew up close to where where the original movie filmed. But I have this set. It's like
Ooh.
It's everything Friday the 13th. Yeah, I got this. I pre-ordered at the second Shout Factory. Put it up for pre-sale there. I have mostly Criterion though. Let's see what else here. I have an Agnes Varda box set.
Very cool.
I've also got box sets of Ingmar Bergman, Federico Fellini, Wong Kar-wai. What else do I have here? I have like a bunch that I got. A bunch that I got recently that I'm scared to pull. I'll try to pull them out. I actually got them out with only like Madawan is an example of one. Night in the City. I haven't opened these yet because I'm going to be doing a similar video where I show off the purchase. So that's going to be another video. So I'm not going to show all of those. Where is... And there, one hits the deck. The last one I'll show just says this is me doing an Antique Roadshow or something. My favorite of the last couple years. Parasite.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Yeah. I literally have like over 100 releases just here. I've also got The Crazies, Reanimator, They Live. I've also got some Italian horror too, like some Lucio Fulci, some others. I got an early Christopher Nolan one, like a following. So there's a lot. I have a ton of physical media.
Yes, physical media is the best, as we determined earlier.
Yes, it is. Like I said, the Godzilla Criterion release got me into collecting like boutique Blu-ray releases or boutique physical media, which is the term for it. And I haven't looked back since. Like I've added different labels, as I said. Like I said, there's still the missing Gamera set that I still need to at some point add to my collection. I know I did a recent sale that I'm gonna do a video on, but I've largely been trying to slow it down for a few due to trying to get into a house, which will mean a better filming location for me too. So I've been trying to do that, but I have a lot. like I said, joked off air without the time to actually show all of it. and all without knocking stuff down or having to go off camera to grab it. Like, I'm just surprised I was even able to grab that Friday the 13th box from where I was sitting. So
Yeah. So you collect Criterion stuff and Arrow stuff the way I collect Godzilla figures.
yes, I do. I and Shout Factory is also really good for like horror and sci and other things. Like they actually have a lot of they've actually are licensed with Disney to do a lot of the Ghibli releases,
Awesome.
or Studio Ghibli directly. I'm not sure who, because I know Disney did the initial releases for like the U.S. releases for the Ghibli stuff, um, but they um, also Shout Factory gets to do that. Criterion actually has a really good working relationship with Toho, so I'd be surprised if there's not future Godzilla releases from them. They've got a lot of the Kurosawa stuff, and they're one of the few labels that Toho will actually give good transfers to. Because again,
Mhm.
they're notorious for not giving good transfers to other countries,
Yeah, they do that.
or at
All
least
right.
not giving the highest video quality to other countries. Like, when Shin Godzilla came out, they were like, we're not going to give you like the full 4K version of it. Like
Yeah,
1080p is the best you're gonna.
they're stingy like that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we've reached the end of our discussion. Do we have a giveaway for today? I think you mentioned you had a couple films you were willing to part with.
Yeah, they're I'm gonna call it the mystery spoopy bundle. Um,
Okay.
because I think that's just more fun that way. But it'll be a horror grab bag. I'll hand you the movies. There's a couple that are like a classic and a cult classic, and then the other two will be a actually I'll show one of them.
Okay.
So this release of Carrie.
Uh huh. Oh, that looks creepy.
It does, right? Like I like that cover. I was kind of like I've watched it already, and I don't know where it would fit in my collection. I was like, let me do something with this, and you happen to ask me, so I was like, all right, I'll throw that in there. But there's other ones in there.
Now, is that the original Carrie or the remake?
The original,
Okay. Yeah.
the good
So
one.
that's setting a creepy cover for a creepy movie.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we are only down to 3 viewers at the moment. But we still did pretty good. We got up to all the way up to 10 that one time. But yes,
Oh,
if yeah, if anyone wants to get their hands on this, please be the first to answer this trivia question, which I just happen to have here. Which monster was originally chosen to fight Ebra in Godzilla versus the Sea Monster? If you would like to get your hands on the mystery spoopy bundle, be the first to answer this question correctly. Which monster was originally chosen to fight Ebra in Godzilla versus the Sea Monster? We'll give it a couple more minutes, and we might not have a winner because we only have 2 people watching, but that's okay. You can just give them to me.
there will be the movie handoff at some whether there's a winner or not.
I'm like, sure, I'll take them. I'll stuff them somewhere. All right. So while we wait for someone to answer the question, why don't you tell us where people can find your stuff?
My channel name's HipsterPunchy, which is self-explanatory. Um, but I have a couple of videos that'll be coming out this week, and like I said, getting more consistent with that to try to build something with that. And at like Hipster Punchy is basically where you can find me on social media too. I do Instagram, Twitter, sometimes Letterboxd, so you can find me on those avenues too.
Yay. And we have an answer from Paul Tackett in the chat, who answered the question correctly. Congratulations, Paul Tackett. King Kong was the correct answer. Either me or HipsterPunchy will be in contact with you to get you that mystery spoopy bundle. Congratulations. Thank you for dropping by.
I'll let you handle that. Just I'll see you on Tuesday, so I'll just give you the bundle.
Sounds good. All right. All right, we can get rid of this banner now. Go away. Go away. Thank you. Goodbye. All right. Paul Tackett, please keep the items. Oh, okay. I guess you'll give them to me then. I'll accept the
Okay.
mystery spoopy bundle on behalf of Paul Tackett. Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, that works for me. All
That
right.
works.
All right, Mr. HipsterPunchy, thank you so much for coming onto my stream. Finally, I
Yes.
have supposed to have you on a few months ago. Then mental health stuff.
Yep.
But here we go. Here we are. We're doing it. Thank you for sharing your stuff and your
thank you for having. Yes, thank you for having me on.
All right. And to you watching at home, thank you for tuning into my stream, taking a few minutes out of your day to hang out with me and my lovely guest. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the stream if you had a good time. And I will see you next time. See ya.